Hello everybody, this is Dollar Relance.
And this is Sam.
And welcome to the second season of Solar Radio Wave, the second flare. Yeah, basically, this is our second season from our original Solar Radio Wave podcast that was done way back when I decided that I got tired of editing the show. And literally, that was one of my reasons why I got tired of editing that show. But needless to say, a lot has happened since then.
Yes, a lot has happened.
Well, just for the record, our last episode was put out on July 13th, 2010.
So it has been 1 year and 9 months.
Thank you, Kent Brockman. But
Kent Brockman, man, I am at least a check me betcha.
oh well. In any case, yeah.
Actually, check you betcha isn't even that great.
Well, he is.
Yeah, I'll think of some music or later.
Well, who cares? Well, whatever. Your Kent Brockman news doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, but in any case, a lot has happened since then, and I guess as of right now, I should talk about what happened to our podcast outside of the fact of the last episode. Since I'm pretty sure everybody knows, if they've been looking, who's a podcaster, has looked at the fact that Mivio turned their back on all the podcasters back then. So our podcast isn't even on the internet anymore. So yeah, that's kind of a rough thing, and I've been meaning to find ways of putting it back out there for the masses. I think nowadays I'm just going to use my YouTube account, and well, not my YouTube account, but I'm going to use the old Solar Radio Wave YouTube account and put all the episodes out there.
I think I'm actually still subscribed to that.
Yeah, I'm subscribed. I'm still subscribed to it as well. It's just I never log in with it. The only thing I log in is just to make sure that nobody logs out, nobody cancels it and whatnot. So either way, it's still there. It just doesn't do anything. And my old AMVs are still there, I think.
Just sit there and does nothing. It's like the points and whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, pretty much. So in any case, I guess since we're gonna bring up this show up again for at least the good amount. I'm shooting for like a 10 episode season.
And we already have 5 topics planned so far.
So far, yeah. We got some other things that we're planning in the works, but we're getting into them, and one of them we're going to talk about today. But we're shooting for like 10 episodes at least, and I hope to get there as quickly as possible. And who knows, we might go beyond that, but 10 episodes at least. That's the goal I'm shooting for right now.
Yeah, we're actually planning it as, a season instead of just flailing blindly making episodes that drag on for too long, and then you get the stupid filler arc.
Well, what would you call the filler arcs? Our soul episodes?
Don't remind me. I made one of those, and it's embarrassing.
Oh gosh, it's not as embarrassing as when I had to edit all the high embarrassing stuff out.
Yeah, I apologize for that again.
Well, that was at a time. Well, that was a different time, different thing. Well, in any case, we're playing this out as a season. So welcome to the second flare, everybody.
Yay.
Yep. So in any case, Sam, what kind of video games have you been playing lately?
Well, let's see. I've been playing Disgaea 3 for the Vita. I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles. I've been still messing around with some Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I'm replaying 13.2 when actually, abusing the Crystarium system so that I actually have good strikes in man so I can defeat that frickin' Yomi. God, I hate that bitch.
And the DLC that you recently got from Gilgamesh to Jill Nabat just gets worse and worse.
It was embarrassing when Ultros and Typhon were kicking my ass. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I just brute force my way, I could eventually figure out the trick, but...
Yeah.
It's Ultros and Typhon. I mean, it's Ultros and Typhon.
Yeah. It's a battle that I was there watching it, and that battle was just going nowhere. I mean, it went somewhere, then it went nowhere.
And I've played Final Fantasy VI, like, I don't know how many times. I should be able to beat the crap out of an octopus.
Yeah. We all should. But then again, that's what sometimes you get thrown a monkey wrench at you and you don't know what to do.
I can beat Ultros' ass in other games that he appears in.
Well, you'll eventually get it. How's Xenoblade? How's that going for you so far?
Oh, it is badass.
Yeah.
If you have a Wii, you should buy it.
Yeah, well, everybody at this point more or less has a Wii, except for me. But then again, I'll probably get one in the form of Wii U. So
Yeah.
that'll be a different story when that comes. And as of right now, the Mega Man fan movement, Get Me Off the Moon, has finally reached their goal of like 100,000. So we'll see if Mega Man Legends comes back by the 1 year anniversary.
I'm waiting for E3.
E3. Well, E3 will happen before the 1 year anniversary.
Well, I'm just saying that if they're going to announce anything to involve the Legends 3 project, it would be E3.
Based on what all the Japanese have been doing, not really, but
That or TGS.
well, hopefully we'll get
But
something.
but I'd be more willing to bet E3.
Anything else that you've been playing?
Video game wise, nothing I can really.
Anything?
Well, I am going to be getting into Valkyria Chronicles 2.
Took you long enough.
Shut up.
How many times have I talked about that since I got it?
I know. I'm sorry.
It only happened after I finally told you like all the class systems that are in there and the job changes and things like that. I didn't even get to the story bits and things like that and all the missions that you have to go through in that game. It took forever. I couldn't believe it. And today I finally showed you like the OVA for the VC3.
Yes,
so
I know, and it's awesome. Okay.
Finally, took it long enough.
Oh please, I could start. Please, you haven't even beaten Final Fantasy IV.
Well, I'm getting there. Okay, I'm just switching between the two.
Yeah, you're getting there. And how many years has that game been out?
Many.
Over 20.
Yeah.
It's 21 years.
Well, and yeah, that's true. Well, in any case, I guess that's neither here nor there, considering that got released here as like what, Final Fantasy 1?
2.
2. Okay.
And that was the SNES era, okay? You could have gotten it on the PS1 version.
I guess that's true, but then again, at the time, a lot of people tell me don't buy those versions.
Well, that was for 5 and 6, because 5 suffered from a blind idiot translation, and 6 just suffered from horrible load times, where if it was anything less than 6, I wouldn't have bothered playing it.
And the GBA versions were...
we don't talk about the GBA version of 4.
And
GBA version of 5 and 6 are epic. I mean, well, 6 is a bit of a breaker because they improved the translation and, the whole nostalgia colored glasses when they change anything or not, but 5 was freaking badass.
Yeah.
But 4 was buggy as hell.
And I tried playing the DS version, so it's
not... That's for veterans.
So it's not like I haven't tried.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, and along with that, I've been playing Riviera: The Promised Land, and I got to a certain point in that game where I just stopped. It's a good story and I like it, but that battle system kind of gets me. I'm not big on dungeon crawlers.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it is a slog sometimes.
Yeah, I will eventually go back to it. I might go back to it in like maybe this coming week, but I doubt that I'm gonna. Oh, I might just do it just to beat the game quickly enough and get it over with. And I don't even know who I'm gonna end up in that game with. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll find out.
Well, yeah, true. I do like what was her name? The Red Witch, Celia. Sierra. Yeah, I liked her a lot, but
yeah, she's cool.
But I'll get to that some other day. But regardless of that, I've also been playing Star Ocean 2 again, or Star Ocean Second Evolution, which has toppled everything else and has become my favorite Star Ocean. Not surprising, I guess, but still. And that's more so than 3, and that's and I know a lot of people hate 3.
I'll be honest. All the stuff he's told me about 3, I don't even want to play that game because it just sounds so frightening.
Well, the battle system is the only thing that's frightening. The story I can be able to swallow.
It's big, okay? It's big and it's scary and it's like big.
Yeah, it's big. Takes up 2 PS2 discs. The first one is all story. The second one is more story and extra stuff.
I mean, it's not like where it's like, oh, you have the main game disc and then you have the other disc that's filled with extras. No, it's like a game that actually requires 2 PlayStation 2 discs.
Yeah, and I can't think of another PS2 game that does that.
I mean, there is Metal Gear Solid 3 Sustenance, but like I said, that was just one disc had like the game and the other disc had like all the extra stuff and the online stuff that ended after a year.
Yeah. You can give Kojima, well, props for trying, but it just online game with just that generation was just a monster to try and do.
And what I expect, the only place that really had a good online thing was the Xbox.
Yeah, and that was even before bandwidth became better than it became better. It's
Yeah.
not. It's nowhere near. It was nowhere. And back then, bandwidth was like next to it, non-existent.
It was a rarity. And nowadays you go to some cities and people won't even eat somewhere if there's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah. But regardless of that, hopefully I'll get through Star Ocean 2 so that we can talk about it. I've already beaten it with Reina, but I want to beat it with Claude, and this time around I intend to go in to try and break the game by getting one of the more early game breaker weapons that are available if you can smith it out.
Breaking the game in half. That's always fun when you can do that.
Well, yeah, VC1 it's not hard to do it, but then again at the same time it's also not very hard to do that in any game if you really know how to break it. Well, regardless of that, I guess I'm not going to talk about anything else I played because I don't want to. Maybe we'll probably talk about them later. So in any case, beyond that, we're going to go and talk about our main topic, which is...
Well, we're going to talk about the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah, the movie, which is pretty much the best thing in that in that animated work, done by if I remember right, Kyoto Animation.
That is correct.
Good stuff. I'm happy that my only big problem with I guess Haruhi is that, well, when they did Haruhi, they kind of forgot about Full Metal Panic, which I also like. So
yeah, Full Metal Panic is badass.
So hopefully now that they're done with Haruhi Suzumiya for the immediate future, they'll bring back Full Metal. Not Full Metal Alchemist, Full Metal Panic. But
yeah, Full Metal Alchemist, I think all that stuff's been released.
Well, yeah, unless they want to do more, which that's all in the Japanese hands now.
Well, I mean all the stuff that's out so far.
Yeah, so far. But regardless, we're going to go into the Haruhi Suzumiya movie. So, oh God, I don't even know where to start. I guess we could...
Well, I do want to point out one thing about this. Most times, because for those who don't know, the Haruhi Suzumiya stuff is based on a series of light novels. And the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya is basically the entirety of book number 4 of this series. Let's face it, most times when a book gets adapted into a movie, they inevitably have to remove stuff. And whether it's better or worse, well, that's up for debate and all that stuff. The disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya movie, not only did they not cut anything, they actually added stuff. And I'd like to see it as probably the best. It's an excellent adaptation, and I wish more works would adapt things in the same way that the Disappearance movie managed to adapt the book.
Yeah. And that movie's like an hour and a half long.
Oh, no, it's longer. I think it's almost top 2 hours.
All right. Yeah. I will say that, like, of the Haruhi series, I'm kind of more of a casual fan of it, but I do like the movie, mostly due to the fact that it features Miyuki, which I'm a big fan of too. So, and that's a guilty pleasure. Yes, I understand. But regardless of that, I like the movie more for the fact that yes, it is a good adaptation. I read the book before going on to the movie, so it's not like I went the other route.
I did the same thing because I've actually been buying all the books.
Yeah, I generally don't buy any works, particularly Japanese works, if they're not complete, which is the same thing I did with Bleach for the longest time, and now I have no excuse.
Except for the fact that, well, at least in the anime, some of those filler arcs.
I like the Bleach filler arts, but then again, that's neither here nor there.
Correct.
In any case, the one thing that always got me about the movie that was made, that was actually done, is just the amount of animation it is. There's when I watched it with you, Sam, it's the one thing I always kept bugging me about that movie is that the amount of reflections that are in that movie.
It really does benefit from Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it's like we don't really know better because we get stuck with DVD a lot here in the United States, and sometimes you're not the wiser. That's not until you. I've actually watched that movie both in Blu-ray and DVD, and I would say Blu-ray does that movie complete justice. You shouldn't watch it on DVD.
But then again, if you don't have the option for Blu-ray, you should just watch it on regular anyway, because it really is a good movie.
Yeah, and you're gonna want to do that now. Ever since Bandai Entertainment went went kaput this early this year. I can only hope. I can only hope Funimation does a license rescue. That's all I can say.
By the way, if anyone from Funimation is listening, which I doubt, pick up the Haruhi Suzumiya license. Trust me.
Or if anybody's listening, just spread the word. Go tell Funimation to save Haruhi. That's what we need.
Tell the people.
Yeah, we don't need a Reckon 7 AO. We don't need pants. What was it? Panty and pants. We don't.
No, Panty and Stocking with Garbo.
Yeah,
that's actually a good series.
Yeah, but like I said, we don't need it more than Haruhi.
Fair enough.
But regardless, let's moving on. I liked how, for the record, I've watched this only in English. I've watched it like once in Japanese, but still, I would. I know this is heresy, but I'm gonna just say it. I prefer the English dubbing to the Japanese.
Well, let's face it. It has Crispin Freeman.
Yes, Crispin Freeman
And Wendy Lee.
Yeah,
And whoever the heck plays Yuki.
Michelle Ruff, one of my favorite voice actress, but.
Well, because let's face it, I know some people whine about dubbing versus subbing.
We will not get in. We will not get into that.
We will not get into that. But well, let's face it, it's a good dubbing.
Yeah, but I do like I like the movie how it always starts out where Kyon is like in his bed, and we've all been in that situation where we don't want to get out of bed because it's so cold during the morning.
Something I recently read on Meme Base, a haiku about getting out of bed in the morning. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
What better way to use a haiku than one word?
Hey, it works.
Yeah. In any case,
I'm sorry for that. By the way, I could not pass that up.
Either way, it's like I liked how where he tries to turn it off, but the one thing that I would say about Kyon in that clock is, why don't you just put it on the other side of your room?
Because that would make too much sense.
Gosh, there's a reason why my alarm clock is in one room and not the other.
Yeah, I honestly don't have trouble getting up in the morning.
Well, either way, I just put it on just for the sake of actually have it.
Then again, my alarm clock is my 3DS with the Mario clock app, and my alarm clock sound effect is the Starman theme.
Yeah.
I mean, that would wake anyone up.
Yeah, it would be, because as awesome as it is in game, it's pretty damn annoying. But that is also neither here nor there. But I would say when he gets up, the next scene that comes up, and before I move on, I really like it when Kyon's sister wakes him up.
Shammy, shammy.
Hey, Kyon! Wakey! Mom told me to tell you to make sure and eat breakfast. And you better eat yours too, Shammy. Shammy, Shammy, breakfast time for Shammy.
It's cold. So cold.
Yeah, voiced by Carrie Walgreen, who does Ash in Final Fantasy XII. So very good.
Huh.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Very good, versatile voice actress. The funny thing about watching the movie every time I see it is like, of all the characters I've heard Crispin Freeman actually voice, Kyon is probably one of his better ones, because I don't know, it's like there's something. I hear the voice out of Kyon, and technically, in some ways, and I've heard this argument for other people, he sounds a lot older than really what he should. He actually sounds like maybe 3 or 4 years older than what he really should be. given the fact that he's a high school student.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Although I will say, for his point of view, that you couldn't have a better monologue voice than him.
But then again, for all we know, that might not be his real voice, and Chon is just being an unreliable narrator.
Oh gosh, when is that series gonna wrap up?
I don't know, but then again, I'm also just looking at it from the book point of view. He is the narrator, so honestly, I think he is unreliable.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe he's just bringing in his skewed opinion about everything. But continuing on, the thing I always liked about the when you actually go into his life, it's always mundane as it is until he gets to the SOS Brigade, and you see like the not really the same disdain for going in, but more like clocking in.
Any sense of normalcy is shattered the moment Haruhi appears on screen.
Kept you waiting, didn't I?
Not at all.
Just another day. Wake up, go to school, eat lunch, sit in class, and go to the SOS Brigade and stop Haruhi from destroying the world through her subconscious. Just another day in the life of an ordinary high school student.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I hang out with an Esper, a time traveler, and an alien robot.
Yes, exactly.
Just another day. What? That's exactly what it comes off as.
Yes, I know. It's all part of the plan, as far as we know. Well, I will say, going into the net scene when everybody shows up, in the scene, I will say this. I think Haruhi has always been cute, but I don't think she's looked any cuter than she has in the movie. I think high definition actually benefits her looks, particularly when, and I noticed this when watching the movie, when she's shaking up the can for the for the frost. That fake snow that people put in their windows or on their trees.
Which, by the way, she writes backwards. So because they usually write it to where someone looking at the window from the outside would be able to read it. No, she just does it so the people inside would be able to read it.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that she refers to Jesus as Mr. Christ.
Yeah, Mr. Christ.
And I know for a fact, when Mr. Christ looks down and sees us all having fun, it's gonna make him so happy!
Yeah, one of the better lines in the movie. I can, and the funny thing is about that one difference from the book from the movie I've noticed is that when Kyon is actually really begging for Yuki to actually say something that kind of just shattered the plan, whereas in the movie he's more like when Haruhi asks her, she blatantly says no, and he's like super surprised. He's like whoa. So it's one of those cases where it's not really a case of like him begging her for trying to mind meld or something. It's just a matter of like super surprise. So yeah, awesomeness on his part.
So much awesome.
Yeah, but moving on to the next day when they start up everything going on. I even if you just came into the movie, and for the record, I hadn't seen like the first season of Haruhi in like a long time. And when it came to Endless Eight, well, we all know the controversy. Everybody's mixed about that, but regardless of that.
Well, I liked it.
Well, yeah.
But then again, I also didn't see it from the Japanese view where it was 8 weeks of it. I was able to just see it all in a row.
Well, who knows? Either way, it sold well in Japan.
Well, honestly, I think they were doing that just to set up so we could see it from Yuki's point of view so we can understand her motivations through this whole movie.
Well, yeah, more or less. But regardless of that, I like the first 2 days where they kind of set up, even for the SOS Brigade, there is what's the word I'm searching for? A certain amount of normalcy. Routine. There we go. There's a certain amount of routine that they go for. So it's even they have like normal days or off days.
Well, like I said, it's just a normal day. You go to school, you eat lunch, you do more school, you go to the SO Brick. Okay.
Yeah. In any case, like dressing. What was it? Asahina in a Santa suit. Well, cute as hell, but not for me.
Oh, well, what do you expect? Haruhi looks for any excuse to put Miharu into some sort of costume.
Yeah, most people probably would.
And the fact that she's a total doormat and just goes along with it really doesn't help.
Well, as the movie shows, it's all an act, even though she.
She has to keep track of the classified information due to classified information.
We'll get into that one when we talk about the later points of the movie. What does it say about me when I prefer Yuki, who just has a little Christmas hat and is still reading a book? I don't know.
The same thing it says about me.
I guess so. Well, moving on. I like. There's another line that I like that Kyon brings up in the classic Crispin Freeman once, which is that when Haruhi mentions that she doesn't like crabs or crustaceans simply because of the hard shell, he mentions the fact is like, why do you think they evolve with shells? They don't evolve to your convenience.
Well, she was asking like, why do they have those hard shells? Why can't they have soft shells to make them easier to eat? Like, they don't evolve for your convenience.
Yes.
Hey, what should we do about the food? Hot pot? Sukiyaki? As long as it's not crab, getting the meat out of the shell is such a hassle. Honestly, I think every crab should have a shell you can eat. I mean, it's called evolution, and that would be the next logical step for them.
Why do you think they evolved with shells in the first place? Newsflash, natural selection isn't about accommodating the appetites of human beings.
Well, he also adds in the line "newsflash," but I guess Haruhi just never knew that there is such a thing as soft shell crab. But
wait, there is?
Yeah, but I'll get into that some other day.
Never knew that.
Well, and I don't know exactly how it's made or what kind of crab it comes from, but that's neither here. Let's just go move on. I like the fact that in both the book and movie, after we go through all this this whole what's the word normalcy within the brigade, he then switches gears and tells them, well, I guess that was a bit long for a prologue, but here we go into the main story. And believe me, everything that comes afterward is like not a joke. Nothing could prepare me for what was going to happen next.
His life suddenly and without warning became absolutely normal.
Yeah, which in his case is completely the opposite of what his normal became that point. And again, it starts out like I guess almost an homage to Endless Eight, where it's basically the same scene, and his sister comes in and waits.
Same thing. Alarm goes off. Doesn't want to go out of bed. Sister wakes him up.
And takes Shammy away.
Head to school and immediately becomes aware when things are horribly, horribly wrong.
Well,
things come off as wrong, and then she walks into the room, and he, rightfully so, freaks out.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Poor Kyon seeing Ryoko all over again. And I like it. It's
just for reference for people who haven't seen the TV show or anything. The last time they met, she tried to shank him.
Yeah,
violently.
Yeah, and she didn't try to carve it out of a toothbrush. She actually had it on hand.
And complete with always smiling, that sweet smile the whole time.
And the fact that her voice actress is Bridget Hoffman, who does Adelie and also did it doesn't help that it's actually Adelie who's actually got a really, really sweet voice.
Adelie's the one in the green dress, isn't she?
Yeah, she's from Dahak.
Well, yeah, I knew that. I just didn't remember whether she was the original girl or the replacement girl.
The replacement. But yeah.
That doesn't help matters.
Yeah, unfortunately. And she has such a sweet voice. And she's also, what was it? She was also Nina in Gurren Lagann as well.
Which also means she was Starfire in Teen Titans.
Yeah. And yeah, but basically she has a lot of sweet acting going.
The sweet voice with that happy little smile talking about how she wants to kill Kyon just to see how Haruhi Suzumiya would react. And now Kyon runs into Ryoko, who was supposed to be gone, and she is completely normal, and he is going insane.
Literally, he goes insane in the entire classroom, or as I like the word, he freaks out. He has a literal freak out. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you singing in Haruhi's seat? And he just, oh yeah, one thing we have to add before that whole thing, they added this whole plot, well, not plot device, or yeah, I guess it is a plot device where he was supposed to take what was it, the party supplies.
Streamers, tinsling, or whatever the heck you call it.
Yeah, he basically had to take that for the party that they were going to have that particular day. And by the time he gets home, by the time he opens it in his class, he realizes it's not there, which is like the big thing about, yeah, this is a completely different dimension, or in his case, the skewed timeline, but we'll get to that again later on.
That and that one guy in his class he always talked to who was supposed to have a big date no longer has a big date.
And he's sick, too, with a cold.
Yeah, what the heck was his name?
Ah, God. I don't know. I know he's...
I knew that you didn't know, but I just wanted to point it out because he is just that one guy.
Yeah. I do know his voice actor, Sam Riegel, but...
Phoenix Wright.
And Syllabus as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from Daihatchi, but...
And Phoenix Wright from Phoenix Wright.
Yeah. But he literally freaks out on the guy. He never catches on about the whole thing. It basically, at that point, he just goes through the normalcy and realizing that the whole thing is kind of... in his world, the whole world is turned topsy-turvy.
And let's face it, Class 9 is missing, which is the Espers class. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name.
Look it up on your. This is how far technology has come from our last episode. We can actually be able to access the internet without booting up a computer.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Vita now, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's another time. Oh, and then he runs into Asahina, who's... Well, her personality is exactly the same, except that she's not a time traveler, and when Kyon stupidly comments on the star-shaped mole she has on her breast, she punches him in the face.
Well, she doesn't really deck him or something. It's more of a light punch that it's sort of like the Mr. Burns throw of a baseball, kind of. I guess for lack of a better word, she punches like a girl, only she doesn't. Only it's very soft. She turns very red and then runs away. Poor girl.
Yeah, but then again, that probably hurt emotionally and psychologically for Kyon.
Well, for that guy, it's like nobody knows him. Nobody knows him, or at least what he knows.
And then goes to the literature room, which is actually still the literature club's room, and runs into Yuki, who is a horribly introverted normal girl.
Who wears glasses that are absolutely necessary, which probably my favorite Yuki, but
yes, we all love Yuki.
Yes. I just feel that I must have point that out. In any case, when he realizes that she's there, he immediately asks her, "Does she know him?" And she nods, obviously for other reasons, and he immediately assumes that she knows him from another world, or that basically he knows that about the whole situation, about what their lives are supposed to be.
That whole scene is funny and sad for two completely different reasons.
Yeah, it's like he basically approaches her, but when he realizes that she doesn't know all about the Espers and the robots and the aliens and time traveler stuff, he keeps continuing on questioning her until to the point that she stands up and trying to back away, and he bats her into a corner.
And she is very visibly scared, which does not happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's never happened. And eventually he just goes crazy, and I think it was kind of done slightly differently in the manga.
Koizumi, that's the Esper's name.
Koizumi, yes.
Voiced by Johnny Young Bosch.
Yes, which unfortunately, if anybody has any complaints about his voice acting and anything he does, like I guess Trigun and Bleach and
it doesn't sound like Johnny Young Bosch.
It's not. It does, but it doesn't. I mean, it's a completely different voice that he's normally from what he normally does. And again, like I said, if anybody wants to complain about his voice acting, just listen to his voice in this show. It's actually a different interpretation of what he would normally voice.
Yes, yes.
But then again, he's not some hot-blooded guy.
No, he's the ambiguously gay one.
Honestly, I've never considered him gay, but that's just my
ambiguously.
Even then, it's not ambiguous.
But then again, he also admit that that's just all an act because that's how Haruhi would expect him to act.
You stupid idiot! You had nothing planned at all.
How about you, Koizumi? I bet you got a date with a girlfriend, don't you?
It would be wonderful if that were indeed the case. However, believe it or not, my schedule prior to Christmas Eve is completely open and flexible at present. To tell the truth, I was getting a little worried about how I was going to pass the time.
Liar. You made yourself free on purpose. Admit it.
Anyway, freaks out Yuki. Then, as he's leaving, apologizing, Yuki hands him a application form for the literature club.
Yeah, that whole scene was kind of done differently in the book, if I remember right. It was a whole thing where she stood in the place where he left her, and he went to a chair and just sat there for like God knows how long. And the whole computer scene happened the whole computer scene took place in that same day as well, if I remember right.
Oh yeah.
So
wanted to check the computer, which by the way is an old. Can we bring up the fact that they actually went to the manufacturer of the computer? This is like an old, crummy computer.
It's a Windows 95, which for someone like me to know what a Windows 95 is and actually know they got it right was kind of hilarious.
They actually went to them to actually get an old model of this computer just so they could actually run it and record the sound effects from it. And what's funny enough is that they actually had to send the computer back because that was the only one they had or something.
It was I think it was it was from a computer museum or something, but
I just find that hilarious. It also shows how much work they put into it.
Yeah, it's a testament to Kyoto Animation and what they did to actually get the movie made. So yeah, by the time he ends up going back home with the form in hand, another thing is that in the book she also smiled at that point too, didn't she?
I honestly don't remember.
I swear I could swear that she did. I think there was like. Well, it doesn't matter.
Well, the fact is, Yuki never smiles.
Yeah, it's
ever. But when she does, it's adorable.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yes, we will.
When he gets home, he ends up having to talk to Shammy the cat, which having to throw out his sister again. But not. But I like the fact that he keeps talking to the cat as if expecting an answer. Which, if this was Bleach, I would expect it, but not in this. But not in this timeline.
Well, in their defense, when he first met Shammy did talk.
Yeah, and it also reminded me of like this visual novel picture that I had seen a long time ago before I even knew who Shammy was. Where it was basically Kyon on the second floor of the school looking outside, and the Yuki was looking directly at the cat. And I always wondered about that at one point, and when I first saw it, it was like, what the heck is this all about? I still don't know where that game is from. I know it's a PSP game.
Which game?
It's a Haruhi game. I'm pretty sure it's a visual novel for the PSP.
Probably.
Because I've seen tons of pictures for it, and the pictures were just way too detailed for it not to be a visual novel. Because I've seen various poses, and they would have various people in the same picture at different times. Very visual-like novel. But eventually he doesn't get any answers out of Shammy, and again he leans back and questions what the hell is going on in this war in the universe that he's occupying.
Well, for all it's worth, he's also questioning the fact that maybe this is reality, and all that stuff he was going through was his imagination.
Yeah, and in that scene they added he has a mirror behind him, and again it kept bugging me. Well, not bugging me, but it amazed me about that he laid back in the scene and there was a mirror across from him, and it's one thing to do the mirror and him not moving, but they actually made a point of actually having him move, and they actually did the reflections in the background as well of him moving.
like I said, they put a lot of detail into this.
Yeah, it's amazing for me. Whew. But regardless of that, the next day it's again he's in Turby World.
He's in school, trying to figure stuff out, not acting crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody questions the fact that that he freaked out yesterday, and his best friend, as we all know, who we forget his name, Taniguchi.
I actually looked it up.
Okay.
Thank you, technology.
Yeah. Well, in any case, his friend Taniguchi this time around has not come to school simply because, his cold got so worse that he was probably barfing up a lung. But
yeah, that's what he said. His dad made him go to school yesterday because, even though he was obviously sick, because his dad's a hard ass.
Yeah. It's. I forget what the thing was. If you're good enough to get up, you're good enough to go to school or something like that. But yeah, unfortunately for him, it's too bad for him. But regardless, again, it's a normal school day. But the thing about Kyon is he doesn't pay attention to school, not because it's like the end of the school year. He's still in shock. And of course, he asks Ryoko again. It's like, "Are you okay now? Are you all right?" And he keeps asking her again, as if this is the normal Ryoko. This is not insane Ryoko. This is regular Ryoko.
As far as we know.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of want her to come back, but then again, for him, that probably mean the death of him. But regardless, she never answers and tells him, you really should get yourself checked out. And
it's bad when what would normally be a psycho girl with a knife is the voice of reason, or at least appears to be the voice of reason.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, the day goes by, and he goes back to the literary club, and again with its one member Yuki, and he sits there basically, and this is where he actually goes into the computer, but looking up stuff and trying to find the home website of the SOS Brigade.
And this is also where he finds the bookmark.
Yeah, but before that, he ends up walking in a circle, a big circle. He gets up, walks in a big circle, and then sits back down.
And
again.
they show all of this. I don't know why. Maybe to just show how normal and mundane it is.
Well, I've heard in when people talk about animation or animation directors, the hardest things to do in animation are not really action scenes, but
it's the walk cycles
or the in-action scenes, really, where they're doing less, and I think it's mostly because you're trying to keep the attention of the audience. So yeah, he finds the bookmark, which is that the program will activate after the 3 keys are...
I do like the fact that he goes, after he finds the bookmark in one book, he then starts going through every single other book on that bookshelf. And there was a lot of books. Just taking it, shaking it, put it on the table, taking it, just with all of these books.
Yeah, exactly. I like the first book, which was, I think the book's name was Hyperion.
That is correct.
Yeah, I like the fact that when he was trying to pull it out, it was like he was trying to struggle. It's almost like Chris Redfield versus the Boulder in RE5, where it was a pain in the ass to get with it.
At least he didn't uppercut it.
Yes, 2 jabs and an uppercut. Yes, you're a manly man if you're able to punch out a rock. But yeah, after he pulls it out, he sits there trying to figure it out what it means, and eventually the club he eventually ends up leaving, and Yuki invites him over to his house again.
Her house.
Or her house.
Apartment, really.
Yeah, with actual furnishings too.
Yeah, it's not just a simple table and devoid of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's actually stuff there. There's actually a TV and a table with stuff on it. I think there was even a plant in there.
There was a plant. I'd also like to point out he also checks the room where technically a alternate timeline version of him and Mikuru should have been sleeping in time stasis at the time. It makes sense in context, viewers.
Yeah, we'll get to that eventually. We're doing a lot of this roundabout stuff about stuff that comes later in the movie, and we haven't even gotten to it. We're teasing too much. But we're going.
Well, it's Haruhi Suzumiya. They also did their first season and second season chronologically out of order, but actually took the time to animate stuff in that wouldn't be covered until earlier episodes that would be shown and animated later.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, I love Haruhi. But before that scene, I wanted to mention I do like the scene where they're actually walking with each other towards their house, and it's I don't know. I've always liked Yuki's wardrobe in her alternate universe form. I guess.
You mean she actually has one beside the same outfit over and over again?
Well, I like her coat.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one thing for me. But yeah, they also mentioned the fact that she's not allowed to have pets, which I'm very sad for her.
Standard for apartments.
I guess so. And basically, he eventually gets to a point where she actually talks about their first meeting, which is completely different from what he perceives about what it was. Which
still resulted in Kyon getting her a library card.
Yeah, it's just the situation how it came about was completely different.
Normal universe. They were off with the on SOS Brigade activities to discover strange activities, and they ended up in a library, and Yuki, being Yuki, just started reading everything and refused to be dragged away until Kyon helped her get a library card. This universe, Yuki wanted to get a library card but was too shy and nervous to do anything until Kyon stepped in and helped her get a library card, and it is implied that she fell in love with him, yada yada yada.
Are you calling that normal? Really?
Well, in this universe. I said that universe and this universe.
Okay, continuing on. Yeah, but basically at that point it kind of reels in his mind that it didn't go down that way, and that he doesn't remember any of that stuff. And it was Haruhi that was in that situation. Eventually, Ryoko comes in after breaking up their very awkward sit down for quietness, and she brings in a pot of stew or broth, I think it was.
Yeah, some type of soup.
Something to eat, but yeah.
Yeah, according to Ryoko, she has to take care of Yuki, or else Yuki would not survive.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But yeah, she brings it in, and eventually he makes it a point like maybe I should leave, and he goes to leave the door. Although I like the fact that her playful teasing about this is a surprise to see you here, how she like turns her head is like, oh, I don't know, it's just a surprise. Yeah, and I think it was at that point that he made a point to just leave. Of course, Yuki stops and is like, no. She tugs at his. I think it was at the bottom of his.
Tugs at his sleeve.
Was it his sleeve or the bottom of his?
I'm pretty sure it was the sleeve.
Okay, well, she tugs at his clothes to not let him go, as a means of not wanting to let him go, and he says something out loud, and I think it's mentioned either in the book or the movie or both that it's very rare that she mentioned that she wants something like that badly.
That is true.
So eventually they all eat and stuff, and eventually they do leave the grounds, and she makes it a point. She asks us if it's okay to go back to the literary club again, and again she smiles a big smile. Well, not a big smile, but
it's big for her.
Yeah, exactly. Big enough that that TV trope states that her moe levels went way up, over 9,000.
I think for a while she was also the picture on the When She Smiles page.
Hey, she is for me. She is for me. I still have the picture.
Yeah,
and for a while it was my wallpaper.
Yeah, and Kyon and Ryoko leave. Ryoko makes some not so subtle hint of, if you want to date her, you better not mistreat her, or else I will be very angry.
No, it says, I will never forgive you.
So, did you cook all of this up yourself?
Uh-huh. Every now and then I whip something up to eat and bring it over for Nagato. It's the only way I know to make sure she's eating properly.
Do you guys get along?
We both live in the same apartment building. How about you? Why did you decide to stop by?
We were walking, and we both happen to live out this way, so I'm kind of on the fence right now about whether I should join the literary club. And I had a couple of questions for her. So she invited me up here and, well, we talked about it. But I didn't force her.
I just can't picture you in the literary club. You don't seem like you'd be too interested in it. Do you like to read books, or do you want to be a writer?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out, I guess.
Really? Hey. Hey. Welcome back. I've been talking to you this whole time, you know. I don't know what's wrong, but you look like you saw an alien or something.
That wouldn't be unusual for a guy like me. Besides, I just saw something even more unbelievable.
Huh?
Nothing. So, what were you saying?
I wasn't saying. I was asking you if you had a crush on Nagato.
Well, I certainly don't hate her. I owe her my life. She saved me that time you were trying to cut me up. But I can't tell you that.
Maybe I'm overreacting. Besides, you're into even weirder girls than her. Nagato isn't really your style, is she?
How do you know my tastes in women?
I asked Kunakita and he told me. He said you were like that in junior high.
What a jerk. He's got no business talking about that stuff.
If you decide to go out with Nagato, don't play around with her. Take it seriously, okay? If you don't... I will never forgive you.
Why are you so concerned about me hurting her feelings?
I don't know. Well, maybe because she's a neighborhood friend. Or maybe because she's the type of person who needs someone to look after her.
Right.
And the whole Nina slash Adelie sweetness, which again for me, hearing that voice, it's like, oh man,
Freaky.
yes, it's awesome, but at the same time, weird.
Creepy.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy! But then again comes the next day, and he ends up going to class again. Yeah.
And Taniguchi, they're talking during lunch. Kyon mentions Haruhi Suzumiya's name, and Taniguchi actually knows where she is.
You know who Haruhi is? You know who Haruhi is? Yes, I know. I didn't know. Do you know her? God, man, don't go for her. Yeah, she's got A grade looks, but she's a complete wacko.
What was it? Her Taniguchi and Haruhi dated for the whole of 5 minutes back in middle school.
I don't remember that backstory, but it would not surprise me if that was the case.
Yeah, whatever. Find out that.
Oh, for the record, he is definitely not her type.
Not at all.
Not even given to the fact that she's into the supernatural and the weirdness.
Normal things do not interest me. If you are an Esper, a time traveler, or an alien, please come see me. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. Please report to the room next to your friends.
Whatever. Finds out that the prep school in the... Well, I don't want to say normal universe. In the regular universe... In the normal SOS universe, it's supposed to be an all-girls high school. Correct.
Was it called East or North High?
No, North. Actually, I have no idea what it's called. Well, whatever. The high school at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, it's like when he gets there, and for the record, they have this montage of him running, and I like the hopeful music that he has. It's like it's the first real thing. Okay.
Don't worry. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually hopeful. There's hope. Something's going to happen. But
yeah, when he gets there, he finally puts the. It's kind of funny where he says like he ends up getting there. I will not really go into this place because unlike Haruhi, I am not that crazy, and he ends up standing there for like I want to say for an hour, but he was there for the longest time. But yeah, it's basically he ends up getting there and he realizes, wait a minute, what if I don't see her? Who should I pray to? It's like he goes through, and I quote Buddha, Confucius, Christ, Lovecraft.
It's the Lovecraft part that, thinking, considering his situation, I would be praying to everything.
Damn it! What do I believe in? Who am I supposed to pray to? Christ? Buddha? Muhammad? Zarathustra? Lovecraft? I don't care who it is. Just get me out of this whatever this is.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious.
But, well, eventually finds
He
actually manages to convince her that he's not some crazy high schooler because he is John Smith.
And for the record, she has long hair again, which I prefer Haruhi in, but...
Oh, and Kazumi is there as well.
Hey man, how are you doing? But yeah, it gets to a point where, it's one of those things where it starts out as like, some weird guy coming up. It's like, hey, I want to get with you. No, that's not the situation here. And eventually he gets to a point where he starts telling all these things that only she should know and nobody else should know, but he knows it because he's done it already.
He's John Smith.
Exactly. And Haruhi, probably one of the few times where she, alternate universe or not, where she is actually completely freaked out.
And unlike regular universe, Haruhi actually takes Kyon's input seriously.
You wouldn't think that watching the show, though, sometimes.
Oh, dude, in the show, Yuki actually says Haruhi would not take your input seriously.
Yeah. Unfortunately, and eventually they end up going to a cafe. There we go, a coffee cafe, kind of reminiscent of when we went to a Carl's Jr. and I explained the entire story of Dot Hack to you in one sitting.
I'm sorry for that, by the way.
It's okay, but that's for my context. That's what I always think about.
One long explanation later, they figure out, well, let's gather the rest of the S Brigade members.
That is totally awesome!
And that's when she finally starts acting like regular universe Haruhi instead of this freaky alt-universe Haruhi.
Yeah, exactly. She basically becomes her normal personality, essentially.
Normal being a relative term.
Well, for this movie, yeah. Oh, God, no. We've pretty much changed the definition of normal for this podcast.
Normal is a relative term.
Oh God, this podcast. In any case, before we leave, they end up getting a cab, and he basically, and of course Kazumi, they have a nice long chat about yes, I'm actually in love with Haruhi, and personally for me, even though he has that whole thing in the universe where he's got to protect her because he's an expert in the organization, I still want to believe it because I don't know. Just the way that the guy acts in the other universe, and it comes.
Who can figure out that guy?
I don't know. He comes, but we also get his best line about where if things are true in the other universe, he basically says Haruhi values him above anything else, pretty much.
Well, it's that Haruhi doesn't value Kyon because he's a alien time traveler or expert. She values Kyon because he's Kyon.
Yeah, basically for his in spite of like all the things that she's interested in.
She likes him for him.
Exactly. And it
makes
comes
me
up
jealous.
Yeah, best line in the entire one of the best lines, makes me jealous.
As a matter of fact, I am in love with Miss Suzumiya.
Are you serious?
Yes. I happen to think she's a charming person.
Oh, I've heard that line before.
Unfortunately, Miss Suzumiya isn't interested in someone as ordinary as myself. The only reason she started talking to me in the first place was because I was a transfer student. And lately, I can tell she's getting bored with me. So let me get this straight. In your world, you weren't the type of person who attracted her attention?
Hate to break it to you, but the only special ability I had was getting myself mixed up in weird happenings.
Very interesting. Then, the Miss Suzumiya in your world is only interested in you, not some unique characteristic or special power. Of course, That's assuming the Miss Suzumiya of your world has the same personality as mine. Makes me jealous.
And I like the background where you actually had the dividers for the trains, where they actually added in Japan, they actually have like these little tassel dividers to keep people from running out, and they actually animated those in the background, which I guess for Japanese sake, they would animate that because that's part of their culture. But for me, it's always amazing because it's not any other. It's not easy to do that.
It's the details.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have the plan. They sneak back into North High School.
And he makes a note that, oh God, I'm late to go see Nagato, or Yuki in this case. It's like, please wait for me. I'm coming.
Yeah, and then they abduct Asahina from the calligraphy club. Is Mikuru Asahina here? I'm Haruhi Suzumiya from the Student Council Intelligence Agency. Come with me. I wish I was making that up, but I'm totally not making that up.
No, it's not. She looks better she looks good in a ponytail, though. But
you are now 36% more charming.
Yes. Idiot.
How do I remember these things?
Oh, it's an awesome movie. It's very quotable. But then we get to the literary club, and again the music kicks in. It's like, hooray, trombones and everything. We've all come. Yuki, when she sees Kyon, she's all like really happy to see him.
And all these three other weirdos walk in.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry for this.
Oh well, but in any case, after that point, it's like, wait a minute, it's quite amazing. But then she makes a point. It's like, just because, even though it's cool and all, it would be a pain in the butt to come here, which I find ironic in comparison to other things. But I'm hinting. I'll get to that eventually. But yeah, at that point, they make a note where the computer boots up completely as they're discussing how Haruhi is trying to figure out, well, how are we going to send you back to your time or your dimension?
And send you back to your universe, John.
Yeah, John, that's right. She doesn't call him Kyo, or she doesn't call him that. She calls him John, like John. It's like, man, this is weird, even for me.
But yeah, the computer boots up all on its own. Message from regular verse Yuki. Want to see if he fixed things. Of course he wants to. Boop. Transported back to the regular universe 3 years ago during Tanabata.
But you're forgetting one of the better things about the movie. He has to return the refer, or the application for the literary club to Yuki, to Moe Yuki, or alternate universe Yuki, but whatever. And it's a sad thing, and he tells her, it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm already part of the literary club, and I'm a full-fledged member of the SOS Brigade. He hits the enter button, travels back in time. What was it, 7 years?
No, 3 years ago during Tanabata, which is where he previously helped Haruhi under the guise of John Smith to write a giant crop circle in the on the quad of her middle school. And he is there, and he actually runs into, he sees himself. He doesn't come out and talk to himself because he doesn't want to mess with the timeline. Then he talks to the future version of Asahina, and they go talk to the Yuki of that time, who is still an alien and all that stuff. And they talk to Yuki as, I believe, Kyon and Asahina are in stasis in the room next. My brain hurts.
Yeah, but the point is, it gets to a point where he actually meets future Asahina. Unfortunately for him, he's got to watch himself with Asahina herself, and basically become jealous of himself somehow, some way.
Never thought I'd be jealous of myself.
Well, who knows? It's like, I've seen people who'd be jealous of a 10-year-old, but who knows? Yeah. And I've also seen people who'd be jealous of a wrench.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, but regardless of that, there is a scene that does mention the fact that Asahina does mention the fact that even though that it was probably hell for her to go through all the trouble of being basically Haruhi's little pet, essentially. She does mention that she does look back fondly on those memories.
Good times.
I guess a classic case of nostalgia goggles.
Well, that or Stockholm syndrome.
Oh, let's not even get into that.
Oh, come on! I am not the first person to suggest that.
Oh boy, but yeah, eventually they end up going to Yuki.
3 years of the past before she was activated to keep an eye on Haruhi on North High School, and they come up with a plan, and Yuki figures out how the universe got changed, and
yeah, she basically mentions that. Well, she figures out what caused the time rift essentially, and she tells it to Kyon, but she kind of we don't know about in the movie. We don't know, and neither in the book. They kind of tease that, so we're teasing something, another tease here.
We're teasing a tease for the sake of the tease. Teaseception.
I hate that movie.
I've never seen it.
I hate the movie, but then again, I'm one of the few people that do.
Well, but then again, I just know it for the whole meme that it spawned.
Well, that's one reason why I don't like it.
Fair enough. Anyway, and then they get transported like 3 years into future, current time, Haruhi-verse.
Where it's cold.
Yeah, because it's, for those who don't know, Tanabata is a Japanese holiday that takes place in like July or something.
And it was absolutely sweltering for him.
And we should notice that all the stuff that's happening in the movie at that point has happened like in December.
Yeah, like I think a couple days, like 1 week to a couple days before Christmas, essentially.
Yeah.
Because the Japanese, they don't necessarily celebrate Christmas. It's kind of we'll get to that.
That's getting into like cultural differences and schisms and such.
We'll talk about that later. But eventually we get to a point where they end up waiting outside the school as if to blackmail somebody. And they see who actually changed the universe. The only person who's actually powerful enough to change the universe, and that is actually Yuki Nagato, which unfortunately for her, by doing so, she also erased her memories as well.
Honestly, it is one big confusing thing.
Yeah, with all the time travel, it's one of the better movies. I would say it actually does time travel better than Back to the Future, because Back to the Future does have like one plot hole.
Well, let's face it. We could have an entire discussion on time travel as portrayed in media and what does it properly and what does it improperly.
I'm just saying. I'm just giving praises to the movie that it does it properly.
Do you remember what someone said in regards to the video game Mario and Luigi Partners in Time? If your name isn't Chrono or Marty McFly, you should probably stay away from time travel.
Yeah. And unfortunately, or in this case, Asahina.
That Noel Christ kid pulled it off well.
Yeah. And talking about time going to the future from our last podcast. But yeah, in any case, at that point, he ends up asking her what she's doing, and it's kind of funny where she actually mentions that she's going for a walk, and he calls her out saying, mentally he calls her out saying, no, that's not the truth. And then we go into probably the best scene or sequence of the entire movie.
Which, by the way, this sequence was just a simple 2-paragraph little thing in the book, but in the movie it's stretched out over a 6-minute moment of awesomeness. And I wish you could see how my hands are like boom and just
it's basically one long thing where he talks about Kyon goes into about the whole normalcy of the universe and what's different and why she changed it, and he still wonders why she did it. Then all of a sudden Crispin Freeman comes in. Not Kyon, Crispin Freeman.
Well, it is Kyon using the badass Crispin Freeman voice.
I still maintain the fact that watching the scene, it is not Kyon anymore. It is Crispin Freeman chewing out Kyon.
Well, it might as well be.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. It's question and answer time. It's an important question, so listen up, okay? And I want an answer. Ready? Then let's take the quiz. Haruhi forced you to do all kinds of crazy things, and if that wasn't enough, you were attacked by aliens, and you had to listen to weird stories from time travelers and espers, too. One weird, unexplainable thing happening after another. And the cherry on top is the ironclad rule that Haruhi had to be kept in the dark about everything that was going on. The person behind it all can't find out. It's a catch-22. And none of that was fun. Is that what you think? You were sick of it. You had enough. It was stupid. You couldn't take any more. Huh. Is that right?
Yeah, just the attitude that he has, as in the contempt that he has for him. It's like, hey, you idiot. What, why are you keep thinking about it? You know the reasons. You want me to point it out to you? Because I will. Pop quiz, good friend.
Why do I have a feeling if you really wanted to, you could quote that whole sequence?
Well, if I wanted to, I really could, but it would take time, and I'd rather just try and figure it out in editing.
Yeah, but he has this epic conversation with himself where he figures out, does he really want to change the universe? I mean, he could go living a normal life, It's a good life, all that stuff. It's like, heck no! I want to do the interesting stuff. I want the world with all the time travelers, espers, and aliens.
Yeah,
I want the world where weird stuff happens every day. What idiot would turn down all that adventure?
Yeah, and they embody it by the fact that he has, what was it? It was one thing was the little note that Yuki left to make the choice for the past, or the application of the future of the alternate future with introverted Yuki as well. So he basically made the choice of leaving the Yuki of that universe behind and going back to the other one, which was
kind of sad.
It honestly is sad, because it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, and then, makes the decision, gonna fix everything, and, oh, by the way, he then suddenly gets shanked by Ryoko.
Yeah, but before that, for the record, Kyon, I think she looks perfectly nice in glasses. But that's really debatable, too, I guess.
Doesn't Yuki at one point ask Kyon what a glasses fetish is?
I think there's actually a TV tropes thing called, God, I forget what it's called, because, whatever, I'm teasing here again.
Yeah, but yeah, totally gets shanked.
Yeah, again by Ryoko, who literally comes out of nowhere in her uniform. It's like, why are you still wearing that? Yeah, but then
we laugh about this, but no, it actually really does come from frickin' nowhere, complete with blood and everything, and that creepy smile with that creepily cheerful voice.
Yes, and the animation in that moment where they have all the droplets with her face on them. Oh gosh, it's absolutely hilarious. And frightening too. And the blood just splatters over alternate universe Yuki,
who appropriately freaks out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and she tells her that I'm doing this all for you, even though this Ryoko is not really the one that's from. Well, yeah.
She's still there as
her
Yuki.
Yeah, but more as her friend than anything else. And then all of a sudden, as Kyon realizes that he's going to die, as the flashes between the two of them come out, which almost pretty much gave me an epileptic seizure at that point. And then he gets saved by none other than another Yuki.
And then you got two different versions of Asahina crying over him. Young Asahina and old Asahina. And then
something comes out of nowhere with his voice and saying, hey, yeah, it hurt for me too, but don't worry, you'll make it through, okay? And then when he comes to again, the universe is as it should be from his point of view, I guess.
The universe is back to normal, with air quotes.
Yeah, and Kazumi points out that what happened at that point, where he basically, again, he
fell down some stairs.
Good God! I think about that, and I think of Uryu from the Bleach, where he ends up getting in a fight, and the next day he comes to school. He just tells the teacher, I fell down some stairs.
Well, you see, it's the joke because it's like, well, it's dark humor that basically you see anyone with a lot of injuries that's like, I fell down some stairs.
Oh, God. Now I think of Fight Club, too.
I think of Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Hey, Vegeta, how'd you get so beat up?
Okay, we stop right there.
What? Team 4 Star does good work.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he ended up in the hospital because apparently he got a head injury when he fell down some stairs. And, you know,
Yeah.
Haruhi's been there the whole time, and she's sleeping on the floor in a sleeping bag.
Like a caterpillar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she basically wakes up and is like, he makes a note. It's like, I could graffiti her face.
And funnily enough, Haruhi does ask, "Did you write on my face?"
No, but I did debate it. Yeah, and eventually he just ends up not. He eventually ends up having the context is that because he upset his brigade leader, he's got to dress up as a. He's got to dress up as a reindeer and sing and dance and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were doing like some play for some children or something, and he has to play the part of the reindeer.
That's right.
And there better be cheering because you will practice until you get it absolutely right, mister.
Exactly.
And Kyon couldn't be happier.
Yep, and Asahina comes in and gives him a hug and all crying and all that other stuff.
And Haruhi gets jealous, though she would never admit it.
Oh, yes, and Kazumi just face palms right there.
And then there's the sweet scene, Yuki and Kyon talking on top of the roof of the hospital.
Which is probably, animation-wise, probably the best in the entire movie.
They did the snow very well in that scene.
Yeah, I also like just the background. Okay, if anybody hasn't figured this out yet, and Sam has done this many a time on our old podcast, so he has nothing to really complain about. I am actually a Kyon and Yuki shipper. I haven't gotten bad. I'm not so bad that I would write ships, although I have gotten, but I am as bad that I would start reading. That I did read it for a time.
Shipping discussions, those.
Yeah.
I've gotten into a few of those over the past few months. Nothing to do with Haruhi, but
yeah,
we're not.
We've all been there, whether we want to believe it or not.
If we were ever going to discuss that, it would be a dedicated episode, which is probably not going to happen as long as he's in charge.
Yeah.
Or I'm in charge for that reason. Not going to happen.
Nope, it's not going to happen, okay, but whatever. But anyway, I really like that scene where, I don't know, where he basically tells her that, it's a romantic scene, but basically where he gets on his knees and tells him, like, hey, anything happens to you, me and Haruhi are gonna come after you.
I will, if the data overmind does anything to you, I will tell Haruhi that I am John Smith, and I will do everything in my power.
Which is basically his claim to not being normal, essentially.
Basically, he'll unleash Haruhi, and...
Yeah, that's the ironclad rule that Haruhi he can't
I'd like to point out that in Book 5, they actually have a discussion why Yuki's acting all weird and stuff, and Kyon basically puts it as, she's dealing with some family stuff, and she might have to move away and stuff, and I'd like you tell Haruhi, I'd like you to not get involved at this point because it's complicated and stuff. That if something does happen to Yuki, not only do I want you to go nuts, but I will be behind you the whole way.
Yeah, that's one hell of a way to put it in a different context and actually mean it.
Yeah, unleash a god against some other godlike entity.
Yes, let's take on the universe. And
Ragnarok.
Yes, let's take on the universe. Who cares if we get our asses kicked? We're gonna kick ass anyway.
And then,
I like the fact that he puts his jacket over her.
Yeah.
It kind of, I want to say that's kind of like a reference or like a shout out to her magician outfit or witch outfit.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah, and eventually after that point where she does agree, like that the Overmind does know, and then he ends up going to school again, but this time it's all completely normal as it should be.
And with just explaining all of this stuff from his point of view, talking about eventually he's gonna have to go back in time to save himself, but I think the universe can take care of itself. You can do that for a while, can't you? Looking at the fourth wall blatantly as he asked that question.
Yeah, as he's saying, at least until I have some of her tasty stew.
Yes, the hot pot.
Yeah, the hot pot.
For the Christmas party.
Yes. Which, just before, and that's pretty much where the movie ends along with the book, but I have to mention that there is a point where he is told that something about a fluttering of a skirt and that he might have actually been pushed down the stairs, which, if I'm remembering right, hasn't been even that hasn't been resolved in the light novels so far.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Yeah,
Then again, I've only read up to book 6.
and they're still ongoing in Japan.
Yeah, and well, basically book 5 and book 6 is basically stuff that's already happened.
Yeah, if
For the I mentioned the anime being shown out of chronological order. The books are the exact same way.
yeah.
We don't even get to the next. I mean, I have to wait on book 7, which is where the plot finally progresses.
Yeah. Well, okay. We took a detour back to the future. Now we're gonna go forward into the future. It's like, I guess it's the equivalent of Haruhi's, the Haruhi filler arts per se,
Except they're good.
and they add backstory, but that's neither here nor there.
Correct.
In any case, it's one of those cases where I really like towards the very absolute last scene is basically Yuki in the library, and we actually see a point where I think it's a boy helping his
Yeah, a little boy and helping the little girl get her library card and stuff.
and it's basically a shout out to that whole situation with Yuki, and eventually she covers her face with the book, and well, that's the end of the movie. Like I said, great material to work with from a book.
Like I said, as far as adapting books into movies, this should be the yardstick that you should measure other stuff against, and I wish more adaptations would do it like this.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a great stuff in overall. So I would recommend people actually to look up the movie, especially now since Bandai Entertainment went kaput. So what if you can't get the Blu-ray, get the DVD, doesn't matter, just buy it.
Do a Google search. Go onto Amazon.
Well, at this point you can only get it from Amazon, I think. I mean, you might be able to get it from Right Stuff.
Go to eBay if you have to.
Oof.
Heck, you might even be able to find some copies at Best Buy.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as that.
Well, actually, I saw one like 2 weeks ago.
I'm probably just gonna buy that copy, because
Nah.
at this point I'm not gonna complain what kind of edition I get.
Yeah, it is.
Unless Funimation decides to do a license rescue, I'm not gonna complain.
By the way, Funimation, I know I asked this earlier. Bet you want Haruhi. You can make money off of it.
Well, I wouldn't put it past them to license it, because they have licensed like other Kyoto animation works, like for example Shuffle, which we've alluded to a couple times.
But that's a later episode, viewers.
Yeah, and they also again the other 2 seasons of Full Metal Panic were done by Kyoto Animation. The first one was done by Gonzo, but the other 2 were done by Kyoto Animation.
Wait, why am I calling them viewers? They would be called listeners in this regard.
Well, they understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, but
Moving on to like other media, I will say I really like the music that they put in, which I think it was called Gymnasium, like number 1 in various forms, but it's basically that whole theme, like
Nagato. I'm so sorry. Yuki. Means snow, doesn't it?
yeah, that theme that plays like throughout the movie. It's just one simple piano that I really like.
yeah, we kind of skipped over the musical score for the movie, but it is really good.
Well, we've talked about it in like important places, but I think, but again, since we talked about the movie, this is a perfect time to really talk about it here.
I mean, really, you could tell that they had a big budget for this movie, and they used the big budget.
They went all the way to Australia to do the score using the Eminence recording studio and symphony, which is also the same symphony that does, if I remember right, Valkyria Chronicles.
They're basically,
Sakamoto does.
I mean, you know, there's that huge, interesting. Let's face it, they're awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome music, and again, the music in the it gets really epic when that whole Shank scene we talked about near the end of the movie, where you basically get angel choir voices coming in. It's like, what am I watching at this point?
It's like, what are you guys on, and where can I get some?
Exactly. What do you mean it wasn't made on drugs?
Why did I know you were going to quote that trope?
That's actually, normally I would not quote it, but it's been coming up in my life lately. Well, I've been reading it lately.
Oh.
So it's not like something that comes
unless
out
there's
of
something you want to tell me and possibly share?
No, not really, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, but in any case, I don't know. It's just one of those good things about the show, and I listen to the music all the time, but and I do like the theme music that comes towards the end. But in any case, I'm gonna transition and move over to like other Haruhi stuff that's related to the movie, which is the vanishment of Yuki-chan.
Basically it's.
The whole premise is basically what if Kyon didn't go back in time, and the universe basically kept going that way,
and somehow Haruhi still manages to pop up.
Well, it's kind of funny in that regard. I've showed you some of the manga as well, so we can at least talk to that point.
It's good stuff. You should read it.
Yeah, basically it's that Yuki is introverted like always. She's a bookworm. She's
a shy, introverted bookworm who plays a lot of video games.
Far into the night.
She gets nervous about something because she wants to go to bed early, but she can't because she's so nervous. So she ends up playing video games and ends up staying up all night. Yeah, and Ryoko getting very angry all the time. I do like it. It's like, and she's smiling. It's like angry.
Yes. Oh gosh. I still think that's getting in semantics, but whatever.
No, go right ahead.
Well, I would argue that it would have been better if she had sighed and then went angry and smiled about it.
Well, it is Ryoko.
Well, it is Ryoko, and again with Kyon, he's not the unreliable narrator in this whole manga. He's the ordinary snarky guy.
He's the oblivious idiot.
Well, it's one of those cases where everybody can see it but them.
Well, except him. Yuki is well aware of her feelings for him, but she is so introverted to act upon him. Yeah, and also some good points here and there where Ryoko is a big chipper of the two, and she tries to really push the relationship all the time, to the point that where he asks us come on universe, give me a hint, what should I say to Yuki, and she comes out of nowhere with a cardboard sign saying, tell her you look sexy. It's like, that's not helping. Yeah, but how would she react if he actually said that?
Oh gosh,
it would be funny.
The manga is still ongoing in Japan. It's getting to a point where currently in the manga, when Haruhi actually showed up again, and again it's Haruhi from the other universe essentially, just not with all the powers as far as we know so far. But yeah, she was drawing crop circles and things like that. It's like trying to signal Santa.
Haruhi being Haruhi.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of funny. She still believes in Santa Claus in the other universe. We forgot to mention that in the movie.
I remember there was something in the Melancholy of Suzumiya Haruhi-chan where she was actually trying to catch Santa.
Oh gosh! And in Da Hack, if you add in some simple words which escape me right now, in the fourth disc you can actually see Grunty Santa. I'm not lying either. That's it's absolutely hilarious.
You can't see it, listeners, but my face is in the palm of my hand right now.
Yes, exactly. And if I wanted to, if you look for it, I'm sure the YouTube video is still there.
Anyway, as for this Yuki-chan manga, it hasn't been officially, translated into English.
Yeah.
But that never stopped anyone from reading good manga on the internet.
Yeah, I'm reading the scanlations. I've heard rumors that actually Yen Press had gotten it, but nothing has come out since then, so...
Well, I think they did. They just haven't released any of it yet.
Yeah, hopefully it'll come out.
Though when it does get released, please support the official release.
Yeah, exactly. Even the Yuki Brigade who scanlates it says, like, yeah, do this. In any case, the last point I read in the manga, which is kind of slow now because I've caught up with it, because when I first found it, I blew through it. But in any case, it got to a point where, spoiler warning, but whatever, it's the internet and the manga's coming out anyway. It got to a point where Yuki actually ended up getting hit by a car, and her personality switched to regular Yuki, or basically alien Yuki, essentially, where she basically is a complete bookworm, very still introverted, but nonetheless very flat and kind of emotionless as well. So it basically got to a point where she does remember who she is, but she doesn't really feel that the memories are her own, essentially.
Well, there's a reason the manga is called The Disappearance of Yuki-chan.
Or The Vanishment, but that's getting into translation, the semantics, but...
Well, but then again, there's the fact that the title is more than just there to be pretty. It's actually meaningful.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great stuff. So far, Haruhi hasn't come back yet, which I'm kind of wondering how this manga is going to wrap up, because I do feel that it's kind of hitting its big climax and stuff like that. But we'll see where that goes for here and there. In any case, that's pretty much the Haruhi universe of the Disappearance movie. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much all we can do at this point and say. So, it's kind of fun to do podcasting again, but I know this, again, like I've said this before, it's going to be a pain in the ass to edit this, but probably not as much as it used to be.
I'm sorry, by the way.
Nah, it's fine. If I really didn't want to do this, I would not do it.
Okay.
But in any case,
and maybe this time, if I actually do my own thing, I'll actually submit something meaningful and not crap I recorded in 15 minutes.
Yeah, if we do that. But again, like I said, this is Solar Radio Wave, the second flare, which are basically our second season. So what we're gonna do at this point, we're gonna basically, again, I will pledge that I'm going to at least try and do 10 episodes and make that goal.
And I will make sure he meets that goal through physical force if necessary, viewers.
Well,
listeners,
yeah.
Whatever.
But regardless, again, Sam, do you have any addresses that you want to pin for yourself so people can get in contact with you? If so, it's up to you. I'll pimp a few things here and there.
Well, I don't recall what my YouTube name is off the top of my head.
That's surprising since you should see it every day.
Well, I watch all my videos, on friggin'...
Yeah, through a YouTube app, but...
Yeah, I don't actually sign on to YouTube. I use the, yeah. Yeah,
exactly. In any case, I guess I'll pimp out some stuff. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm usually on there a lot, but you can follow me on Twitter for Dollo, DOLLOWR. Basically the R being Dollar Lance, obviously. You can search me up on YouTube. My YouTube account is Dollar Lance. That's DOLLOWRLANCE. So you can look me up that way, and you can also basically look up the old Twitter. You can basically look up the old Twitter accounts. Well, Solar Radio Wave didn't have a Twitter account. I don't know whatever happened to that one. But you can look up the Solar Radio Wave AOL, Solar Radio Wave at AOL.com. I still do maintain that, but basically it's become a secondary email for me. And you can look up my own email, which is dollarlance at AOL.com. So,
if you wish to contact me, my YouTube name is BlackBeltSam5610. BLACKBELTSAM, number 5, number 6, number 1, number 0.
Right. So in any case, yeah, with that, it's good to be back in podcasting even for a little while. And with that, we're just going to give you our own Kid Icarus remix, which is basically Kid Icarus MegaloKidMarch, which is done by Nicolas. Sam, could you help me out here?
Ferranti. Nicolas Ferranti on ocremix.org.
Yes, exactly. And oh yeah, simple note to OC Remix. Good April Fool's Day joke. I actually thought you were turning into a vocal remix station.
Don't worry, viewers. I did chide him when he actually bought into it. That reminds me, Kid Icarus Uprising.
Well, that's
good.
probably like that's probably the only April Fool's Day joke that happened that day that I actually believed. And I forgot that it was April Fool's Day. But then again, that was also the same day that Toonami came into being, so...
Honestly, the funniest thing that happened on April Fool's Day is an actual thing happened, and no one believed it because it was April Fool's Day.
Yeah, and for the record, everybody, go out there and start tweeting, bring back Toonami and all that other stuff, okay? We want it back! We want it back in one form or another. But yeah, Sam, what do you think of this remix that I played before the podcast?
I liked it.
Yeah, I like it because it's kind of like a steady progression of the theme. And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is a remix that was meant for like the old Solar Radio Wave. It is actually the last remix I had picked out for Solar Radio Wave. It just never made it. Well, but now it is part of the Solar Radio Wave podcast. So in any case, you can go ahead and listen to that, and we'll see you next time. And hopefully I will talk to you then. Okay, well, I'll see you on YouTube, and we'll see you wherever. Take care.
Later.
Alright, here we go. We're recording now.
Awesome.
Okay, so I guess I'll bring us in this time around.
Mm-hmm.
How many years has it been?
Too many.
Good God. Alright. It's gotta be like, I don't know. Something.
Well, I want to know. I didn't even listen to our stuff.
I don't blame you. I barely remember. I still have ours. It's just I just never listened. Well, I did listen to it. It's just not often.
Oh, hasn't even been 2. That's actually a lot better than I thought.
Well, considering, I guess I should write that down, just for the little factor of it.
For the record, it has been 1 year and 9 months, I think.
It's been a long time, that's all we know.
It's been longer ever since Dad's been planning that garage sale that finally happened today.
Yeah.
I made $20 off of that. I think I already told you that.
Yeah, you did. Alright.
Which is convenient since I spend all my money on Sam Adams.
Alright, where'd it go? Okay. Hello everybody, this is Dollar Relance.
And this is Sam.
And welcome to the second season of Solar Radio Wave, the second flare.